Most people struggle to respond when somebody asks the all too familiar question, what do you do? And because of that, they're missing out on marketing opportunities every day. My name is Kurt Stockwell, and as a StoryBrand certified guide with over 11 years of marketing experience, I've helped hundreds of businesses create marketing that actually works. You're listening to the One-Liner Workshop podcast, and in every episode, you'll learn how to create a powerful one-liner that'll make people want to do business with you. Ryan Ferguson is a professional videographer and owner of Cavalier Films. Ryan's biggest struggle when answering the question, what do you do, is filling his answer with industry jargon that does not make sense to the average person. Using industry jargon means that your message is not clear, and when your message is not clear, it's not memorable or repeatable. In about 10 minutes, Ryan and I are going to solve this problem and give him more opportunities for business by creating a clear and memorable one-liner. Let's get started.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kurt. I'm excited to do it. It's overdue. I need it.
Overdue. Why do you say it's overdue?
Well, because I've had my company launch my brand in 2018, and I don't really have a great answer to the question, what is it that you do? I usually just fumble around and say a couple keywords and hope that they pick up on it. Yeah, so I operate in I would call it commercial film space, and I say commercial as opposed to, the more event film space where you've got your weddings or funerals, parties, stuff like that. So in the commercial film space, it can range, it can be promotional videos for companies, it can be brand videos, it can be actual commercials for television or for YouTube or other online areas. And so that's really the space that it is, but it's a really broad range. It could be social media stuff. It can be, like I said, promotional, fundraising, stuff like that. So I personally spend most of my time in that kind of helping businesses sort of present their message. When they have a message and they need people to know what it is, video is obviously a great way to do that. And so my world is usually kind of in I would say anywhere from a minute and a half to 3 to 5 minute sort of mini documentary style, more interview, more realist, not as much narrative or like script work, although I do some of that. So it's not hyper focused, but it is a little bit more focused than say like just social media TikToks or something like 30-second spots on TV. So it kind of ranges there.
So you mentioned commercial, and do you often get people in answering the question, what do you do? And you say, I do films, I do filmmaking commercially or commercial filmmaking. Is the immediate response always like, oh, you make commercials for television?
Yeah. Yeah. Have I ever seen any of your commercials? Have you ever been on a Super Bowl? Have you ever made a Super Bowl commercial? I mean, I think immediately, Geico or whatever State Farm or whatever commercial they've seen on TV, that's the first place that they go. And obviously locally there are a handful of commercials, but really that's not the primary place. Even most businesses are marketing. But yeah, I don't do many of that. I have had spots that have aired on TV, but that's pretty few and far between.
Got it. So if we could figure out a way to answer that question, what do you do? And quickly help people understand that you're not making commercials, but you work in the commercial film industry. How do we not confuse them, but guide them very quickly into going, oh, I understand what you do. Tell me so that's your industry. Tell me a little bit about your customer. Who's kind of your ideal customer?
Oftentimes, I would say probably a lot of the work is fundraisers. We're an organization. We need people to know what we do, and we need them to be connected with us so that they want to be involved in some way. And so probably my biggest clients are school districts or nonprofits that are trying to get a positive message to the community that inspires them to action ultimately. So it's sometimes it's purchasing and actually doing business with, but a lot of times it's sort of putting out a very positive vibe or feeling into the community that spurs those people to go, I want to be involved. I want to donate money. I'm proud to be part of this school district or organization. And then, yes, there are some clients that it's like, ultimately the goal is then that positive feelings turns into, hey, I want to do business with these people because this is the kind of people that I want to work with.
Got it. So really what you do is you use film to help create better connections for these businesses to their customers.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
So what is the biggest problem or pain point that most of your customers face related to not necessarily films? That's the solution. That's the solution to the problem. But the problem is getting connected to their customers in a meaningful way, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think there's so much noise out in the marketplace right now. And so how do you connect with the people you want to connect with? And how do you do it in a way that is not going to just fall on kind of deaf ears of people that are getting bombarded with messages from all different angles? And that varies, of course, per client and per message, but sometimes it can be as vague as like follow along, right? Like subscribe to our channel, like us on social, whatever it might be, just to continue receiving our messages. And then obviously it can get a lot more specific as, donate now, or come in and check out our latest offer or whatever it might be.
So what makes you unique in your industry?
Yeah, I think my approach specifically is to really kind of tap into the layer that is underneath the kind of corporatese speak of like, hey, why should I do business with you? And every good business, and here I am wanting to get one. But you have a tagline, or you have that reason of like, hey, this is why you should choose us. And what I really try to do with the video is approach it from the layer that's underneath that, right? And so finding that real human, genuine story that people can connect with, because so much of video marketing is kind of fluff, and it's a lot of corporate heads, and it's a lot of like, we've been here the longest and we will treat you right, and just the kind of stuff that I think as consumers easily goes in one ear and out the other.
Got it. So to summarize all of that into a couple words, I think if you said meaningful connections.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Right away, if you said story-based films that create meaningful connections with their customers, right away, I think people would go, that's not a commercial.
Yeah, that's a great point. No, I think it absolutely encourages a follow-up. Story-based films or meaningful connection. What do you mean by that? And so I think, yeah, there's a lot of intrigue there, but also at its surface, it's not words that don't mean anything, right? It's not like you say something so vague that people are like, that was just garbage. Like you could think about it and it means something, but then it does, it warrants some follow-ups.
After they've gotten your film and they've started to use it for their nonprofit or the school or fill in the blank, what are the things that they say that video was able to do for them?
That's a good question. I think that it gives them a sense of, especially thinking of like school districts or nonprofits, they have a very strong purpose. They have a strong why of what they do. And so I've heard things where it's letting others in on that, right? So it's like people are starting to understand our why in a way that was hard for us to communicate before that.
I like that. So let's start crafting this. So when we do a one-liner, we do a few different things. One, we want to help somebody quickly identify the problem in a way that they can either personally recognize and go, oh, I have that problem. Or they can say, I know somebody who has that problem. So if we got the problem, most businesses and nonprofits struggle to connect with their customers. I create story-based films that build meaningful connections. So connecting connections, I think that works. Yeah. And then the final piece of this is what success does your customer find after you do this? And really, if we even ended it right there, it would work. But if we added one more line where it talks about helping them to grow their business, causing their customers to take action and engage with their brand.
To kind of help move their customers or to, guide their customers into being involved. But it is hard because it's different, because it's not always like to purchase, like I mentioned, right. There's a lot of different forms. So I don't know what the best word there, be involved. something like that's probably a good way to say it.
So for the nonprofit one, you could say most nonprofits struggle to connect with would be donors, or would it be their customer base?
Yeah.
What is their...
That's a little tricky. Yeah, donors is pretty good. I mean, community is really vague, but I think a lot of organizations and nonprofits want to feel like they're a member of the community. So I think that is a buzzword that gets thrown around quite a bit there.
Most nonprofits struggle to connect with their community. I create story-driven films that build meaningful connections, because when the community feels connected, a nonprofit grows, or a nonprofit succeeds.
Yeah, maybe for nonprofit, succeeds would be good. The other word that I love to use, and really it works for businesses too, but is the word impact.
So for the nonprofit one, most nonprofits struggle to connect with their community. I create story-driven films that build meaningful connections, because when the community feels connected, a nonprofit has a greater impact.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's great. Cool, man. Well,
Cool.
I feel really good about this.
This would actually fit. It's a little long, but it would actually fit on a business card. It would fit into the signature line in your email. It really would be the great start to a website homepage, like the first thing you see on a website homepage. It's a great way a great thing to put into like a bio on a social media account.
No, I love it, man. I think it's really great. Cool. Well, I'm excited to, now I need to build a website. Do you know anybody that builds websites?
I do. Yeah. I'll send you a couple referrals.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, man, this is cool. I'm excited to get out and use it.
Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Follow the One-Liner Workshop wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, businesses that succeed in today's marketplace invest in clarity and reject confusion. A one-liner is the first step in creating marketing that works. And if you're ready to take all your marketing to the next level, please visit welldressedwalrus.com and schedule a free consultation with me. I'll see you next time for the next episode of the One-Liner Workshop.